Hey friends, welcome to the Beans World Show. And this week it's difficult because I can't think of what topic. Actually, no, I'm going to talk about it because, I'm going to talk about the Vampire Underground. Actually, no, that'll be the second part of my... I want to talk about Cyberpunk first, then I'll talk about the Vampire Underground. Before I do all that, I want to give a big shout out to Ellie Wiggins, who is a manager at the... She's the manager or landlady, whatever you want to call it, at the Orton Arms in Southport. It's had its name changed back. It was the Monument. It's been in my talking newspaper. And I thought, do you know what? Since we like Ellie so much, oh dear, I've never had a great relationship with barmaids, have I? Since we like Ellie so much, we thought we'd give her a shout out, so there you go. She was in my talking newspaper, so I thought, you know what, since I've read my talking newspaper today, and it was a very lovely article, actually. It was very basic, very to the point, but we knew about it anyway before that article was done, before it was produced. So we knew about the article anyway. We didn't get a mention, though. The Monday night group, the group that go in on a weekend, they got a mention, but we never did. The Monday night crew, goodness grief, Ellie. She probably did mention it, but obviously the papers, obviously, I don't know. It would have been nice to put the Best Buddies Club in there, since we go in there every bloody week anyway. But yeah, they do real ale in there. If you like real ale, go in there, check it out. They've now started doing dinners, and they've spruced it up a bit more. So they've made it nicer. They've taken away the big screen tellies because it's not a sports place anymore. Not that I'm sad about that, because there wasn't really many people going in for the sport. But I do hope they have more live music in there, because I'll definitely go in if there's going to be live music on the weekend, definitely. It's on the corner opposite what was the Carphone Warehouse, and it's on Horton Street. So there you go. Pop in, say hello. You can say we sent you. We haven't said we sent you, but it is a shout out, isn't it? And also, something else to point out as well is Ellie is fantastic. I'm blowing my own trumpet here. And she'll try and sort what she can for you. You know, if you need, I don't know, tables on the... because there's like a raised bit, and if you need like tables on the non-raised bit, and if you're going in to use the lavatory, please make sure you ask before you use, because I know Ellie won't have a problem with you going, but just ask at the bar. It is polite anyway. So there you go, Ellie. There's your super shout out from us. Blummeneck. We don't normally do shout outs. Oh yeah, another thing as well is it's a nice layout, the pub, really. There was one other thing, but I can't think what it was. Because we were going to open the other bit that was the sports bar, but yeah, who knows? If we are going to open it, Beansville Corner. No, we won't call it that. Maybe someone could call it that for a joke, you know. I'm open to little in-jokes like that. You know, or something along them lines. But yeah. Oh, and there's a secret garden as well. Which isn't really a secret, because me and Thomas knew about it, and it looks a lot better. And apparently, I think they've had plant donations from what I've read. But yeah. But that's where Thomas and Peter Shepherd like to go on the odd occasion. So there you go. And also, they have amazing other staff there as well. They have Vicky, the lovely Vicky, who we tend to pull each other's leg from time to time. But hey, you know. So there you go. That is Ellie. Oh yeah, and she's got a fantastic jukebox in there as well. But that's just the icing on the cake, isn't it? Yeah. Me and my mate have great fun with that jukebox on a Monday. We try and see what songs we can play for Trina to pull Trina's leg. I usually stick Fat Bottom Girls on there. But so, yeah. So there you go, Ellie. There's your shout-out, love. I'll probably go on. What was that shout-out going on? Anyway. Yeah, so there you go. There's your shout-out. I also want to give... Jamie Vondy was asking where his shout-out was last week. Jamie Vondy, big shout-out to you, my friend. We've got his office. We got half his office, actually. Yeah, he'll be doing Sound City pretty soon. But I've given that more of a plug on my other channel, haven't I? So... Oh, no, I haven't, crumbs. But yeah, Sound City coming up soon. If you're into music, go there. But sadly, sadly we're not. It's not really our thing, sadly. So otherwise we would have gone. But yeah. And but there is some fantastic people in that place, and we're all a big family. So even though we're all different companies and we're all different entities, we all weave into the same net. So there you go. Yeah, because Radiant Advertisement, and then you've got the record company. We're all good friends. We're all good friends in there. So there you have it. I should give them a little mention because and yeah, they are an independent record label, so so if you have bought anything by Red Room Club or Jamie Webster, then you are supporting your independent artist. And if there's any indie people, indie syndies, and yeah, crumbs. And we're also big. There is another YouTuber who I've forgotten. I met at the Performance Network, and I can't remember his name. But obviously, he will get a shout out sooner or later. And if you're a huge YouTuber, and here it doesn't matter how big or small, you can be a part of the Beans World family, which we're starting. And what I'm going to start soon is I'm going to mention it here on the podcast just before I get into the meat and potato. I am going to start very, very soon. When I'm going to have a little word with certain people about it. I would like to start a Patreon because it's like a Beans World Club. And basically, you'll be paying what you'll get on there. You'll pay your subs. We have it like subs. So it's not going to be like your bog standard Patreon. What you'll do is you'll pay your subs every week, whatever that may be. Pay your subs every week, and then once a month, we'll club together and we'll have a big party once a month. It might be a podcast. It might be just a meetup. It might just be a hangout. It might just be whatever it may be. I don't know what it'll be yet. So I've got to sort it all out, and it's going to be very nitty gritty. I'm mentioning here on the podcast, it's something I'm definitely going to do. I've said it. I've said, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, blah, blah. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a Beans World 77 website. And that, my friends, will be free. I've got to say that, because the website will be different. In meanings, there'll be monuments on there. There'll be crumbs. There'll be all kinds of amazing stuff on there, and I'm gonna get some little animations on there. I know who to speak to, and they'll get paid. And they'll already be they're already a member of the Beans World family, even though we're not subscribed to them. But anyway, but what we want to do, this is what we want to do, because channel membership, I don't want to do channel membership. I want to do Discord, because in Discord we can be a proper club over there, meaning that there'll be other bits and pieces, and we can share stuff over there. But I will know who to do shout-outs to and all the rest of it. And, you know, and reviewing stuff. Now, I want my YouTube, to not be my main thing, as I've got another project which I'm not going to mention. But I do want to put my money into what I love, because that my plan, one of my plans, is to buy a van. Right? I know this sounds ridiculous. This sounds like ridiculous, but the van will have a studio in the back of it, and the idea is we can drive it to wherever. And we can do podcasts in the back of it, and we can do wherever. And it can just be an advertisement, and hopefully we can advertise my friends' events on the side, and whoever wants events advertising, and so on and so forth. And it's just a big billboard, really, with a big YouTube studio inside of it. And hopefully that's something that I want to do going down the road. It's just a plan. The other plan that I've actually got, which sounds even crazier, it sounds wicked and crazy, but to actually do a festival. It's not going to be a music fest. There will be bands there, but it's going to be more of an arts festival, meaning we're going to have lots of other people there, YouTubers. We're going to get, cars, and I'm thinking like a car type show, but then other stuff there as well. So I'm planning to do that if the channel gets... I want it to get to 100,000, because I can do all these great things. I mean, I can do great things anyway. I don't need 100,000, but when we get to 100,000 subs, we'll do something massive. Not something massive of the channel, but massive outside of the channel, so people can come and enjoy the thing. And so I'm hoping to get a Patreon going, and with the Patreon it will be other bits and pieces, and so on and so forth. And obviously we can give to the fans of the channel, not just, you're a blah blah blah, whatever it is. And and obviously people have their roles at some point, where speaking to people already. So if you want to roll in the future, and obviously, you know, when I've done the roles go out and so on and so forth, because it's going to be something that we all love doing. You know, this is going to be something that everybody will enjoy. You know, when I'm like, for example, that, you know, it'll be like you will have. It'll be like, do you know in the old days when you used to want to go somewhere like Saturday mornings and stuff like that? You'll have that same excitement. You'll go, Friday, podcast day, podcast. And it's actually podcast day. I know the podcast's gone out a bit late this week, but hey ho, I've been doing other stuff. It was a nice day today. I wanted to get out the house. I didn't just want to get my toy phone. I wanted to cruise around town. It was a nice day for me to do that. Went a bit too quick, but hey ho. And I want to get people involved with this channel. I want to get, you know, just people generally involved. You know, because it's about kind of making the channel even bigger than what it is. But it's about making the community bigger. It's about making the community bigger around the channel. It's going to take a while, but we've already got a handful of people, and they know who they are. And yeah, and here's a mention. Here's a little nod to Sammy Forage. Is her name? Can't think of her name. Yeah, Sammy, you are a member of the Beans World 77 clan already. And I just wish you had another social media or whatever, so I could, because I have toy phones that you are welcome to have. I've actually got one toy phone that's in the loft, and it's a rotary phone, but I think you'd love it, but it's just getting it to you. So, but yeah, but yeah, and also we have, who's the other person that's oh yeah, music lover. Is it the blind music lover or something? I can't remember the rest of them, but yeah, they're also a part of the Beans World family. Yeah, she's great. Music lover. She's doing exactly what we're trying to do, only she's got 300 subs. I'm not in competition with anybody, but I love what she's doing, and I love, like, we've spoke to each other in the comments. But again, I don't know what she's got an email address, but I don't know what other forms of things she has. I don't know if she's got a Discord or I think she uses the community tab on YouTube, which I don't really like using as much, because I don't really get much love from it, unfortunately, even though I prefer to post using the Braille note now on the community tab. I can write for longer. I can write forever and ever. I'm thinking, hold on, I've written half a post, like a post that's like long, really, really long. But anyway, so yeah, so wow, done the intro. Done the whatever it is. Oh yeah, I need something else. Right, here's something else that I wanted to just before I actually get into the meat and potato of the podcast. Right. I've decided. Right, this is what I've decided to do. Is I have actually decided now, ladies and gentlemen, to like next week, I got an interview with my imaginary friend coming on here. But getting back to this podcast, because this is like the 8th or 9th episode now in the podcast. And I'm thinking now, let's do some news. Like toy news and stuff like that. News that you don't get, but it's really enjoyable, Because I think as well that if I talk about something interesting, it might be, like the Retro Hour. Wow. When I first heard that, Dan Wood and a friend of his, I didn't remember Ravi and, oh yeah, Crumbs. That's just reminded me. But when I first heard Dan Wood and Ravi Abbott on a podcast, I thought, wow. I didn't hear Ravi Abbott on YouTube. I remember Dan Wood doing his thing, and I thought, when they did their Retro Hour podcast, the first episode I heard was like the second or third, fourth. I didn't hear their first episode till like later on. The one with Alistair Brimble. And I thought I was but to hear them talk, to hear them talk about things they would, games, I thought, wow, this is like, it was like if you were to meet them. And I thought, I've always said this to Dan Wood on his channel, on his personal channel, in his own comments, that he sounds way better on a podcast than he does on his channel. And he's no different now. I think the podcast has kind of upped his confidence. And I said, when I used to do radio, McGill Radio, I used to say, I used to get rollocked by my boss because I said, is it all right if we use the Retro Hour? And, and I got told off. But every week I'd say, the Retro Hour is the best podcast. You guys should go listen to it. And they got, one week, I had about 12 listeners on my show, and I think a few of the listeners are on the few of the people that used to listen to me on McGill Radio. I've just said, go and listen to the Retro Hour. It's literally what I used to do. But so I'm just gonna get here and before I talk about the Vampire Underground really quick, I want to say happy birthday, YouTube. I know it's a bit late. 20 years. Wow. I remember, YouTube was whoa. It was a lot more better a few years ago, I think. Because YouTube was one of those magical sites, where you could watch anything. And I mean anything. You could watch really strange cartoons, which some of them are out there, some of them aren't. You had things like Charlie the Unicorn and stuff like that, but you also had The Crazy Frog Gets Killed, The Teletubbies Die, all that sort of stuff. And it was like, then it was more amusing content like Fat Kid Goes on Roller Coaster, or the Virtual Barbershop, which is still on there, and all stuff like that. And then it got to really, really, really cool compilations, just like really, really weird and weirded out stuff. And then there was like dark creepypastas, and man, it just, like, YouTube was a different place. It was a very different place. People were very different on YouTube. You never commented on videos unless you wanted to be an absolute noob. But I commented on a few videos, would you believe it or not? And Dan Wood was one of the first who was kind of nice to me in the comments. Unlike other YouTubers who would get annoyed because I couldn't spell and I'd be using dictation or whatever, or had no punctuation. So I never commented on those videos. But yeah. And I remember one time I would jump on streams and talk to people on the streams and stuff like that, week in, week out. And then it got from there, didn't it, to, where we are now. But also as well, I think YouTubers, where they do sponsorships, so that I think this video sounds like I'm advertising so much to you guys. But I also think as well, like, I think there's been a podcast, I think, this is kind of very, very different. Because, I want this to be different, I want this to be different to other stuff I've done here, which is different to other stuff I've done. And we've got a bit of Q&A in this podcast, would you believe? So, yeah. And also as well, the other YouTuber I used to watch, one of the first YouTubers I think I ever watched, was a Beardy Man. I was absolutely amazed by his old content. And then he went a bit rubbish for a little bit. I think because he was getting sponsored by someone, and like now he'd probably have to say he's getting sponsored by someone, but back then he didn't. It was kind of good that he didn't say that he was being sponsored by someone, but everyone knew he did. He was getting sponsored by like a sampling company or whatever. So his stuff kind of went downhill a little bit, but he's got better again now. I love that stuff where he gets people from the crowd and instead of getting people to shout at genres, he samples people and then puts them into a genre, which I think is pretty cool. Who else did I watch? Stuart Ashman, LGR. You see, I used to use YouTube properly. I used to either watch documentaries or old computers. Yeah. And then I'd watch creepypasta content. And creepy content. And then I tried to look for deep web videos on YouTube. There were a few around. The two most memorable deep web videos I ever saw on YouTube was Hamburger Lady, which is a Throbbing Gristle song, but the deep web version was just Hamburger Lady sped up and then this like weird still image. And then the other one was Why You Never Became a... Oh no, that was a creepypasta, wasn't it? Yeah, Why You Never Became a Dancer, but that was used for memes for a lot of for a long time, which is actually off the album Bird Seed. Yeah. And this like what is White House? Who are they? My word, that's a video for my other channel. That's something I'm doing a lot of research in, and throughout my research, all I've seen is Buyer's Market. Ugh. Oh dear. What an album. Not. It's not really for your music collection, let's put it that way. I'd stick it on for your grandma, though. Yeah, shut your grandma, all right. We used to use M&M to shock our grandma, but hey-ho, this will make your grandma hide in the next room, I should imagine. Yeah. Peter Sotos, there you go. a lot of punk rock people have got it in their collection because it's been produced by Steve Albini, would you believe? But yeah, it's not really a punk project. It's not even, it's, I don't know what you call it. I think it's kind of, it's just awful. That's what you call it. Right, so there you have it. That's YouTube 20 years on. And now we have live streams and people just, I don't know, as well. Oh, no, we had unboxing videos. They were, at one time, they were really good. You know, and unboxing videos have to be done well, and a lot of people do them crap. They'll get the box and they'll do like ASMR crap, and they'll tap the box with their fingernails and rub the box and do whatever else they do with the box. And it's like, wow, come on. You know, they don't talk about the box so much, because when you're unboxing, you have to talk about the box. You know, and when we did consumer studies, I wish I had Stuart Ashen as my I said that to my consumer studies teacher. Yeah, Ashens. Another thing as well is unboxing videos as well. You've got to show the box. You've got to show what's on the back of the box. You've got to talk about it. You've got to talk about it before you open the box, because you're selling that item. Think about it like that. It doesn't matter. If you're doing an unboxing video and people do them wrong, I've seen them on TikTok and they just, oh, look at what I got in the box. And they open the box and it's like, hold on a second. You know, it needs to be long form. You know, when you watch an unboxing video, it needs to be done properly. And yeah. And even though it's boring, you know, people talking about the box and stuff, it adds to the magic. And here's the thing, right? Dan Woods lost the magic in his videos. I still watch his old videos because I love it when he's literally opening. He won't just, you know, I love it when he'd like open up a computer and show you the guts of in the computer and show what it's running. And it'd be like your ICT teacher giving you I mean, obviously, I don't think ICT teachers do it these days, but we used to get a full tour around, you know, this is the RAM, this is the ROM, this is the CPU, all that. I love it when Dan Wood is doing it because it's like, wow, you're getting a tour around the system properly. He did it with two Amigas. He did it with 3DO. He didn't do it with, there was a few things he didn't do it with because obviously there's certain things, you know, it's difficult to open up. But I do love it where people open computers up and they show you inside what's running this, what's running that. I also watch server room tour videos. I still watch some of those. They're a bit boring to watch if you're not into server room tours, but I love them. And and arcade tours, I love watching those. I love watching Fruit Machine videos. I love watching Fruit Machines. I have this fetish now when I go out, and actually I nearly got bollocked because there was a guy in a pub who owned a pub who I got friendly with, and I says, what I do is I look at what the Fruit Machine is, and then I'll go on YouTube and search the Fruit Machine. He got one of those new shitty £500 machines in. Yeah. And I'm not interested in them £500 jackpot machines. I'm more interested in the old Fruit Machines, because they were the Fruit Machines that I remember way back in the day. You know, they were the Fruit Machines that I remember sneaking on. I had a Fruit Machine. I had a sweepstake clubber in a Big Shot cab, and I was talking to a Fruit Machine guy about it on YouTube, and he was saying, oh yeah, and I messaged him about it, and he had to go to another fruit machine guy to find out what carb I had and everything. But I've learned a lot about fruit machines through YouTube. You know, if you've got a fruit machine, you can't just move it. You can't just... That's how people, you know, have ruined them. You know, when you get a fruit machine, you know, you got to look after them. Those fruit machines... See, this isn't a fruit machine channel. But I had to show them off in the... where was it? The arcade in the Skaysbrick Hotel. You can tell those were damaged. Coimex rammed to frick. You could just tell they needed a bit of TLC, a few of them. But yeah, it had its own little magic, that video. But again, see, I'll do videos with certain magic to it if I can. And it's... yeah, I'll reply to her in a bit. I can't be asked now. I can't be asked messaging people. Massaging people? I can't be asked massaging people either. Sorry. I can't be asked to message or massage. Yeah, what do? Message with one thumb and massage with the other? Oh dear. Ooh, matron. Yeah. Right. Vampire Underground. Oh dear. This is a video. So I found there was an underworld in Liverpool called the Cavern or something, which is also an underworld used by witches. There's also a conspiracy theory I found out, where the Beatles went when they wrote Penny Lane, right? There's a line in Penny Lane that's got a subliminal message that's referring to these tunnels, which isn't true. I found about that the other day, and I thought, okay, well, I know the line. I know there's a subliminal message in Penny Lane, but it's actually to a girl, and it's not one that you play in reverse either. It's... I can't remember how it goes. But anyway. Yeah, so the Vampire Underground. Now, there is 2 underworlds in Liverpool. Apparently, all these vampires were basically living under Liverpool. They had their own underworld. There's the Williamson tunnels, which everyone knows about. But then again, like, the Liverpool underworld was run by these vampires. And also the sorcery of witches and everything. Now, these vampires would eat their own kind. So more like cannibal vampires. But they only took from their own bloodline. And a lot of them would live within certain surroundings. So, yeah, there's more information that's going to come to light, but well, no, you can't, because I'm doing a bloody podcast, woman. I'm gonna have to message her in a minute, because it's gonna be freaking weird if I don't. But I'm doing a podcast, love. I'm doing a podcast. Can't you see I'm doing a podcast? Right. Back to the task in hand. So yeah, and that's the thing. Now, Liverpool has got, well, Crosby had a lot of covens, a lot of witchery covens. There's the Curse of Formby Woods, which apparently still, it's been lifted, but the part of it still lingers. Little Crosby has been forever cursed, and there was a monastery that got cursed in Liverpool. And and there was a woman who got possessed. Where they had the nuns' place got cursed, and a witch tried to curse it, and this woman got possessed. And anyway, she was physically ill. She got a fever. They managed to get that better, but they got her into. She had to go into this asylum. Yeah, and anyway, what happened was this this woman, one of the nurses working at the asylum was a Christian and performed an exorcism and got the demon out of her, and she managed to escape the asylum. So there you go. That's literally some of the weird stuff that goes on. And yeah, now people do ask me this, right? Because we'll get into the Q&A in a little bit. But people do ask, have I ever seen an exorcism? I haven't, but I do believe they do exist. And I'm not frightened of ghosts, but I'm frightened of demons, because people seem to get wrong yes, ghosts are demons, but they need to get right what isn't, and obviously when we've done paranormal videos on here, and we've made them very entertaining, and I've made it very clear, very, very clear, that I don't mess with demons. I don't mess with any spiritual things. I know people do. And there's no demon. Me and Will stayed in the Adelphi last weekend, and there is no demon in there at all. Will thinks there is, but there isn't. You'd know if there's a demon in there. There is a hotel in Liverpool I'd like to go to that is haunted. I don't think it's in Liverpool. It is haunted. I'd like to go and check it out at some point. It's really naff, the hotel, by the way. It's naffer than the Adelphi. People say the Adelphi's scary, but it's not. Well, the scary bit was the bar, but the bar was too busy for us to even do any proper sort of ghosty stuff in. But I know the bar is haunted because my Uncle Bob used to work in there, and apparently he saw something in there that he would never explain to my nana, but apparently. So yeah, it could have been the demon, but it didn't get us. See? And see, the paranormal stuff entertains me because I don't believe in a lot of it. Do you know what I mean? I've got to be very careful what I say here. I think certain things can be like, you've got to know how to do it. You've got to know. You've got to know. Like, I had a ghost app, and I got rid of it after Neil died, because he did come through on the app, and that was Neil, and it wasn't a ghost, and it was Neil coming over on that app, and I knew, I could tell his voice and everything. Then I saw him in a dream. I still see him in a dream, but I felt I shouldn't have done that. Do you know what I mean? That was a real message. That was a real thing. And then I did see him in a dream. And I'd hear his footsteps in the house. I'd hear his, because when he would go to the toilet in the night, I knew he was gone. But I thought to myself, that was kind of protective. To me, Neil's footsteps didn't scare me, because I knew, okay, Neil gone. But Neil, before he went, I think, I wish I'd have been there before he went, because I wanted to I'd have loved to have reassured him. I'd have loved to just say, go, Neil, just go, mate, don't worry about us, go. I'd have said to him, I think when he came back, I didn't want to say this to Anne, she won't have it, that I think he was worrying about me. When he was in hospital, he was always worried about me, bless him. But, he's in his resting place, and I would have loved to have had a bit of Neil in a box, but I thought, no, he's... You have to give them the wish at the end, don't you? So, but, yeah, and it's strange because there are things that do strangely remind me of Neil. I don't know what it is. I'll talk to somebody about rugby, and I'm not interested in rugby at all. I used to watch a bit of it with him, but it's strange. I'll talk to somebody about rugby, and it's like, oh yeah, there's a bit of Neil there. It's strange because I was on the bus a couple of months ago, and there was somebody who Neil played from a different team. Oops. And yeah. Anyway, we're going to have a bit of Q&A, and then I'm going to shoot off because I'm eating into beer time. That's not good, is it? But we had our tea late, you see, so I wanted to have beer if I have my beer late, that'll be a better one, won't it? Because we had tea around about 7, so it's, it's 2 hours after, isn't it? Oh, but yeah. That window won't be closing tonight. Because it's strange. Heats up, then it cools down, then it heats up again. Anyway, Q&A time. Excuse me. Oh yeah, yeah, I mean, obviously with Neil's footsteps, I felt very safe. I knew, because there was a certain time in the night where I'd get scared. I don't know what it was. I mean, there were several portals open, and they've all been shut now. And anyway, I knew there were portals in that house. There wasn't just one. But I couldn't tell where they were. I knew there was loads in the kitchen and loads in the utility room, but I couldn't tell. But it's when we opened the loft. And I just knew, and I just thought... Because I said to Mummy, I says, have you opened... This is when I was staying there. And I said, I heard some footsteps. And she said, Stephen, you talking? I said, no, Mummy. I said, I knew. As soon as they opened the loft, and I didn't say anything, I thought, please don't open that loft. It was like a can of worms was going to open. I just knew one of those portals, as soon as you touched it, that was it. And it's been there ever since the house has been rebuilt. Because it was with the old build, not with the new build. And so I said to Mummy, I said, "You've not opened the loft, have you?" And she said, "I have." And I thought, and I looked up at the loft. The day they opened it, I looked up. I didn't want to go up there. I knew there was something up there. And it didn't, I said to Mummy, "Oh, what was in the loft?" You know, "Oh, it's all old rubbish." And I thought, I tried to say to Mummy, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean what's up there furniture-wise. I wasn't interested in what was... I knew what was up there, because Nell told me ages ago, those, basic loads of crap, basically. But that's not what interested me. I wanted to know what was still present in there, basically, but I didn't want to provoke that subject. So I went back that night and I watched my cartoons, and I thought, I'm going to stay up a bit longer. Because I thought, I'll stay up a bit longer because I know that if I hear Neil's footsteps, I can go up. Right? The ghost of Neil. If I could hear his footsteps, I'm all right. I can go up. I can go to bed. I thought I'd rather go to bed if I hear Neil's footsteps, because I didn't want him to come down. And another thing as well is I always made sure that Neil's bedroom door was shut. I didn't want to go in there. I did go in there, but only to use the phone. But at night, I wouldn't go in there at night, because I used to pop my head round the door, "Neil, are you all right, mate?" So I didn't want to pop my head round there at night. So what I did was I just waited for Neil's footsteps, the reassuring footsteps, and I thought, yeah, I can go up now. But I went up early. I was tired anyway. It was, what time was it? It was about 1:45, because I used to watch the cartoons till, when Neil was alive. I used to watch them I used to stay up till about midnight, midnight. We used to get up about 9 a.m, so and then it got past, because there was another cartoon I used to like to watch called Make Shake Jake, which used to come on about 1 a.m. So I used to stay up till Make Shake Jake came on, then I went to bed. And then I'd get into bed, and then I'd watch YouTube till 2, 3 a.m. And then I'd get to sleep. Well, this night, I don't know what happened. And after, Neil passed. So I'd hear him go to the toilet, walk across the landing at 12:01 in the morning. So I thought, right, okay, that's time for me to start going up. But instead, I think I must have been really tired that day. A lot went on. It was a big day. I can't remember what I did that day. And so, it got near midnight. And Mummy texted me She rarely did text me that late, but that night she did. She texted me. I can't remember what it was. I think it was, are you in bed yet? Are the curtains shut? Yada, yada, yada. That kind of thing. Yes, mother, I'm in bed now. This is when I was going upstairs, she texted me. So I thought, oh, great, Mummy's texted me. Maybe I can text her back. So it was just like, oh, good night, Mummy, that kind of thing. And it was early. So I went to bed, went to sleep. And an hour later, I woke up at 2 a.m. I could clock it. And I heard this clip, clop. And I thought, that's not Neil. And I thought, I hope that loft hatch is closed. And I knew it was. And I thought, yeah, it can't get down the ladder. But that was very memorable. Anyway, so, but I guess I was more scared because I knew that was, and it wasn't in the street, and it was right above me. Clip, clop. And then it stopped. And, you know, ghosts, they've got their own rules or whatever it is and stuff like that. And I knew when I went there, when I moved in there, I wouldn't sit in a certain corner. I used to ask Nell, is it all right if I sit in the corner of the lounge? And Nell's, don't be soft. I was like, well, I can still feel their presence in here, Neil. But that went after time because I was used to being in there and I was used to being in that part of the house. I was used to going upstairs and stuff. But, you know, and anyway, so yeah, that's that question answered. The only time I've been frightened of a ghost was, well, I say frightened of a ghost, I'm not entirely sure, was at college, and I saw something there. Everyone saw it was a dream, but I knew it wasn't. I was in room 13, and what I didn't know was someone died. Someone died in Dale House, and my friend had broken the keyboard that belonged to them. It was a nice Roland keyboard. I think it was an MD32. Well, it had the MD32 in it. Anyway, I got haunted for a couple of weeks over that. There's a few strange things that I could tell, but I'll leave them to another day because we'll be here forever and we'll never get to the Q&A. So Mark Bridges asks, what books do you read? I don't read much, actually. Mainly science fiction. I've been reading that Jeanette McCurdy's book. Yeah, her autobiography, which I think is quite interesting. And I think, I liked her playing Sam Puckett in iCarly. I thought they were both very fun characters, but I prefer her as her. I think she has her own spin on life. But there you go. But yeah. I was reading a Star Wars book. Oh no, it was a Doctor Who book. I've not finished it yet, and I was reading The Neuromancer. But yeah. When will the documentary for R come out? Well, I might have to work on it myself because people are letting me down with that. But yeah. I might be able to do that as an animation if... yeah. Have you ever been into someone's house in a dream and actually being someone's house? No, that'd be a lucid dream, but I've had a few lucid dreams where I've not remembered them being lucid dreams. One of the weird ones was I was here at home and my school was at St. Vincent's in West Derby. And I remember one time at school, because I used to stay over 2 nights a week. And there was one night I didn't stay over. And I was in Bridgman, yelling my head off. And this happened a few times, but this time I was at home. And I was in Keller. It was Keller back then, I don't know what it's called now. Yelling my head off. Next day, it was a Friday. That was it. Because I'd gone home, I'd stayed for tea or whatever, I can't remember. No, I hadn't stayed that time. Because it was a Friday. So I hadn't been in Keller at all. And I got pulled up by a Maureen English. Stephen, you were shouting last night. What? I said, I wasn't even here. She was having a real go at me, was Maureen. She was going, you were shouting your head off. I was like, what the frick? And anyway, so I went to school. I thought that was weird. Break time, Maureen takes me aside. She said, Stephen, I want to apologise. I was going, yeah, because I wasn't here last night. She goes, I know. So she must have, the waking night must have heard me shouting, gone to tell me off or whatever, and I'd disappeared. I'd disappeared. So that was weird. And then before I left school, something really, really weird happened. I went in, this was like the penultimate to last week, and the people were looking for me. And it's like, oh, Stephen, what were you doing here last night? I was like, what? They said, right, we just want to ask you this question. What were you doing here last night? Oh, right, okay. I said, I was basically just walking around the school. I dreamt I was here because I had a dream that I'd lost something or something, and I had to come back and get it. And anyway, they said, "Oh, right, okay." So I had several people, and I was surprised that Steve Roberts never got wind of it. But what happened was, the security guard was looking for me because I'd been seen walking around the grounds and the school and everything at night, and I wasn't even at the school. I was here at home. I was I was in Southport. I wasn't in Liverpool. I wasn't in St. Vincent's. But there was one night I did stay there, and when I stayed in Bridgman, I could, because of the whole R thing, I could lucid dream, so I could float backwards and forwards, and if I knew someone was going to wake me up, I used to float from my dream and then to wherever I was going. And it happened when I was in Caulfield a couple of times, but I did this one day in Bridgman, and I could see Steve Roberts come in, and I was like, yeah. I hovered down to see what he was doing, and then hovered back up to Bridgman straight as quick as I could. I don't think he even saw me there. I don't know if he even said, but yeah. So, and I lucid dreamed to see where R was. I did it once in Caulfield. I remember one time my lucid dream saved my sorry ass because a friend of mine was going into a seizure. And I managed to save him. Not fully, he went back into it. But what I did was I saw the ambulance crew come in, and I floated around. I floated through the playroom, and they didn't see me, strange enough. But I got back into the lounge, the lounge in Caulfield, where they were coming up with the stretcher, and I got to my mate Jamie, and I said to him, just hold still, mate, the ambulance are coming. And as soon as I said that, the ambulance were there with the stretcher, and I was in the way. They couldn't get past me. I knew that I had to move, and I thought, shit, how do I get back to my bedroom? I couldn't float past them because of the stretcher. So what I did was, I thought, right, I can get through this wall, and boom, I was straight back in my bedroom. And I woke up and I heard everything. And they had to move my friend's bed or whatever it was so they could get to him. But I was sharing a room with my mate, and we got a bit of a lie-in that morning. And I got to listen to Black Sabbath while getting dressed. But yeah, and then there was another time where Dave Wilmot, he'd come to knock on my door, and Dave said, "How did you know I was coming to knock on your room?" I said, I've just, I've got a good sense, Dave. How could I explain it? I remember once explaining it to him when I was on his good side. I don't know how I got onto that light, but I remember explaining it to him. And he said, "You're not really supposed to do that." And I said, "Yeah, but it's not against the school rules, it's just a dream." Because I didn't know what lucid dreaming was, but he did. He didn't explain it to me, but he knew I was doing something wrong. Oh, brilliant. Gosh, she's not going to stop, is she? Bloody hell. What cars do you want to do on the channel? Quite a few, actually. But I've made a little rule that I'm going to not do the cars that I think, I'll just do them, but I'm going to try and just stick to... There'll probably be a lot of Mercedes cars on this channel going forward. Problem is, when you do cars, I find that it gets a bit sloppy when you do car walkarounds. So you have to try and do something different, switch it up and all the rest of it. So yeah. But yeah. Do you have any vehicle? Have you had any Motability? Yeah, I've had quite a few Motability vehicles, but that was the last one. I've had an Audi, and the rest have been Qashqais. I have a bit of a gripe with Motability. Well, my gripe isn't necessarily with Motability. It's the problem is, when you have a car, it's not necessarily your car. Now, when the future gets kicking off properly, when I go into supported, might thinking of getting a Motability car, because when you get a Motability car, then things get more interesting, because then it is your car. And if the person can drive, yeah. But if they can't, why bother? Obviously, I did what I did to, that was my, I had my reason for it. But technically, I had my gripe with it, because it's like, it's not your car, it's their car. And the times that I wanted to use my Motability car, but I just thought no. So I just left it at that, really. Because I could have put someone else on and all the rest of it, but it's who's going to drive it and all the rest of it. But, yeah. But, it's difficult, because for me personally, to own a car, you've got to drive it. That's just my opinion. If you own a car and then someone else is driving it, and I don't know, at the end of the day, they're not, it's the whole thing with it, really. But yeah. So, and also as well, it's the person that owns the car, I think they get the say or whatever, but anyway, I'm not gonna rant on about it, because it's just my personal gripes. And they weren't gonna let, because they weren't gonna let Mummy have that plate on, so she's got it on this one now. which is why I had to do the video very, very quick at the time. But that's another problem that I'm facing as well, is registration plates. They seem to be a thing. The problem. It seems to be a problem, not... I'm going to have to close my window, otherwise I'm going to get little visitors coming in during the night. It's not what I want. What I'll do is... Oh crap. I'll close the window, but I won't put the thing down. So I've still got a bit of air coming in. By Jove. But I don't want mozzies coming in and biting me all through the night. Or you just get... Oh. Do you like monster trucks? I don't know which channel you've come to, my friend, but you're obviously at the wrong channel if you think that I don't like monster trucks. By Jove. Who doesn't love a monster truck? And yes, we've got some classic videos coming up soon. Not yet, but soon. There's quite a few YouTubers who've done monster truck walkarounds. Quite a few. There's also the, is it Santapod? Santapod as well. We really want to do that. So many things we want to do. But the rocket bike, that won't be appearing on our channel. I shared the post. I think the guy said he's going to get rid of that. I can't remember what the whole thing was. It's so freaking fast as well. Yeah. I'm not going to go all the way till 10 o'clock. I'm going to go down probably about, in 5 minutes. I left it a bit late tonight because we had our tea around about 6 or 7 o'clock. It was around about it was before 8 o'clock that we finished tea, so I thought I'll give it a little bit before I go and get my beer. So yeah. But I'll just have to go see. Yeah, the problem with car walkarounds and doing them is reg plates. That's the problem, and that's the problem that people seem to have. But I'm not interested in reg plates. I am interested in the vehicle though. So there you have it. And people are going to know. I was actually told that a friend of mine sold his car, and I was actually told that one of our subscribers bought it. So I'm pretty happy that they've got that car. What's your gripe with Tesla? Ooh, crumbs, where do you start? The problem with electric cars is where do you charge them? You get so much. I mean, obviously, they're great in, say, the big cities where there isn't that much. Well, there isn't much road. I've got to be careful when I say this, but there isn't, say if you're only driving them from your house to the shops, they're more for like that kind of journey. If you're driving 30 minutes up the road to work and so on. So, but I mean, like, because London's a big city, so say if you're going from one side of London to the other, then yes, an electric car would be good. But if you're, say, if you're going to go for a proper drive and, you're seeing the sights and taking it all in, you don't want an electric car. You want to hear the roar of the engine, and you want to smell the petrol. Oh, man. Or smell the diesel's better. I mean, it's not environmentally friendly, but it is better. You get more mileage out of it for whatever it is, and it doesn't drink the hell out of it. But they'll never run out of diesel, but because they say it's like dirty or whatever it is, I mean, they got rid of the diesel trains first. And yet I thought that, diesel's more reliable in my mind, but there you go. I've had arguments with people about this, people who work for oil companies. I can't remember what the argument was now, but they have it, and the stuff they do, but yeah, it's... I mean, we've got enough oil out there to sink a battleship. It's just that lithium is the new thing now. Because they're saying, lithium is cheaper. Well, it's not. Because, battery, we haven't got enough. We're not, we can't do what they do in India. In India, they swap the batteries out and all the rest of it. Yes, back in the day, we had really good electric vehicles, but that was trucks. Trucks worked better on battery than cars did. And also places where there are electric cars, they're either used in the big cities or they're used in places where it's, not where they don't need to use them as much. I mean, and that's where I think. But apart from that, I haven't really got, I haven't really got the love for them. And also, they're taking mechanics' jobs. I sound like an old fart here, but they're taking mechanics' jobs. A petrol or diesel vehicle, you take that to any garage, you'll get it fixed. Electric cars, who's going to fix it when it breaks? Who's going to fix an electric vehicle when it breaks? And mechanics will not touch them. I mean, the fire department, they'll extinguish the vehicle, but they just won't touch that yellow cable. And you're going to fry in an electric vehicle. You're just going to fry. It's all electric. It's, yeah. Any more gripes? Not really. But anyway, so I'm leaving it at that. So don't forget to like and sub and all the rest of it. That was the bed, not me. Anyway. Until next week, goodbye and thank you. Oh, crap.